variety is the spice of life. Again, this is something that comes up time and time again. Variety, okay? Don't let your writing be all the same the whole way through, because everyone's going to be like that. Make yours a little bit different. So there's so many things you can vary. Sentence lengths, again, that's going back to your complex, compound, simple sentences, okay? Show the examiner that you know where a comma goes and you know where a semicolon goes. Sentence starters, okay? Don't just say, and then this happened, and then this happened. Try a different way of doing it. Use a different connective. Maybe use an adverb. Cautiously, he went into the room. And then vary your vocabulary, okay? Again, so it's not using small words when you can use bigger, more sophisticated language, okay? So, like I've done the example here, bad goes to horrific to utterly destructive. And then you need to do these three for yourself, okay? So good goes to what? Goes to what? Happy goes to what? You know, joyful, cheerful. Think of any of these words. In fact, now is a good time to look up a thesaurus. If you don't have one at home, have a look online. Thesaurus.com is quite a good one. Type in some words, everyday words that you might use, like these, and try and find bigger, more sophisticated vocabulary that you can learn and use, okay? That's just showing the examiner that you have more than a basic grasp of what is required. Okay, so like any good writing, the senses are important here, okay? That makes descriptive writing, it just adds so much more to it, okay? So what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? What does it sound like? What does it taste like? Okay, so really be a bit of a Sherlock Holmes here. Take your magnifying glass out, really zoom in on something, okay? So, you know, if you were talking about how something felt, you might say, I felt like I was enclosed in a dark room and all I could see was the pattern of the concrete on the wall. You know, you're really zooming in on it. Does it feel like? You could say something was a horrible sandpaper texture. What does it smell like? The acid smell of smoke stung my nostrils. What does it sound like? Like hands scraping down a chalkboard. Okay, and what does it taste like? Like the bitter taste of, I don't know, an orange or something like that, okay? So you're describing things using the senses, okay? Let the examiner feel like they're really there and they're experiencing it for themselves, and you do this through talking about the senses, okay? It's the best way, really, to describe something. Okay, common mistakes. This is key. Students work too slowly, okay? Get your timings right, okay? I know this affects some students more than others, but literally the best way to do this is to do timed work, okay? If you're doing that in class, great. If you're not, then practice at home. Literally say to your mum, I've got 45 minutes here. I have to write this essay. Come in when 45 minutes is up and tell me to stop, okay? And if you do that enough times, you will get into the rhythm of it and you'll understand how much it takes you to write in that time, okay? Another point then was students don't plan or check. I know, we all really hate doing this, but it is so important that you plan. I mean, it has been proven that the students that plan get better marks, okay? So literally go in, doesn't matter what form it takes, just get down some ideas before you even start, okay? Write down your techniques, write down key points that are happening, and then at the end, take those 5 minutes and check over it, okay? Is this the best I can do? Read over it yourself and think, does this interest me? Okay, and if the answer is no, then change a few things, add something in to make it interesting, because if it doesn't interest you, it's definitely not going to interest the examiner, okay? So think about what you can add in to make it more interesting. Does it need a bit of humour? Does it need a personal anecdote? Does it need a bit more description here? What can you do to make it interesting, okay? Students have no connection with the audience. Again, this comes back to the idea of rapport. Okay, connect with your audience. Do form audience of purpose when you go in. Figure out who it's for and connect with them, okay? If you're writing to the government, it's going to be very different to if you're writing to year 8 students, okay? So make it clear that you know who it is you're writing to and that you're connecting with them, okay? Get them on your side. Make them feel like they want to agree with you because they quite like the way you've written it. Okay, students make predictable spelling errors. Again, this comes back to if you know you spell a word wrong, go home and learn the correct way to spell it. Go stay behind for 5 minutes with your English teacher and go over it. Best ways to do that are the look, spell and check, okay? So look at it yourself, cover it over, spell it, and then check that you've done it right. And if you haven't, do that again or write it out 10 times or whatever comes to you. Also, there's other ways of doing it. You can get worksheets online. You could also try a pyramid, which I find quite helps. So write the word out and then work backwards, okay, taking a letter off each time. So if we're going for spelling, it would be spelling, okay, and then the next line up would be spellin, and then the next line up spelli, and then the next line up spell, and then the next line up spel, okay, and so on until you get to the top, because it's just forcing you to think about the order in which the letters come, and that's really what can trip students up sometimes. Think about the order of where the letters come, okay, so it really is up to you. You need to take the time and learn to spell these words if you keep getting them wrong. Also, if you're going to add in the good vocabulary, you might need to learn to spell that because they're not words that you're going to be using every day. Okay, they also said that students tend to end with a series of bullet points, so it's quite obvious. They've gone in, they've written everything down, and then they've got to the end and thought, oh goodness, there's like 1 minute left and I have so much more to write. I'll just write a list of bullet points. Sometimes we can even be taught that. I mean, I think I was taught that in school, but they have said themselves that they would prefer if you spent those last 5 minutes doing a really, really good concluding paragraph instead of wasting your time, because they can't mark bullet points, they can only mark what you write. So spend those last 5 minutes doing a really good paragraph or checking over your work. Okay, it also says students don't use connectives, okay? So connectives are the glue, really, that holds the text together. So they join clauses in a sentences and they join sentences in a long piece of writing. Okay, so they can be phrases like in other words or just after that, or above all, in particular, notably, more, moreover. Okay, so words like that you are using to connect your sentences or to start them off are really important. So these are common mistakes, these are key, these are the things that examiners who have marked papers for years have come up with, the list that they've said you need to think. Okay, so and just to finish, remember you're not as stressed as this guy. I just thought this was a funny picture to include. I mean, the poor dog looks pretty stressed out with old people drivers. I'm sure we all get a little bit like that. But do remember not to stress out, okay? So just go over the key things. Take the opportunity to talk to your teachers if you're really worried about something. But do just go over the key things. I mean, you can do it. And we as teachers do really care about you and about, we just want you to do well. So really do take the time now and go over these key things like paragraphs and connectives and learn them so that you'll be more prepared for the exam. But do not stress out, always talk to someone if you're getting really worried about it. But you can do it if you follow these tips and if you think about your paragraphs and if you do all the things that we've talked about, then you can do it and you will hopefully be able to get to see them. So thanks for listening.